Stacy, would you give us a tour and just kind of show us a couple things that you're growing here?
Sure, yeah, I would love to. All right, so I really love growing the, the brassicas and the cruciferous type vegetables. So I do a lot of kale. I have my dinosaur kale here and my red Russian kale. And I also kept a few of my beets. I've harvested most of my beets that I have over here, but I like to keep them for the actual tops, because I eat all the greens, because I use tons of them. And then I cut back some of them. I have some oregano in here. And then my dill, as you can see, I try to put dill everywhere because I use it in a lot of my ferments that I use. And then of course, right here, we have the seeds. And these seeds are great. So right now, what I'll even do to have more dill toward the end of the season, I just go ahead and I'll just pull them off like this. And I can just sprinkle them in there, cover them up and water them. And I mean, that's kind of how I garden. It's like if I have an empty spot, I'll just go ahead and do it. And then that way I'll have some dill later, because all my dill, I have a lot of it over here too. There's still some of it that I have some flowers, but a lot of it is going to seed. So I've transplanted it and taken the seeds and put them in a lot of other places. But I like to put herbs everywhere. I have some parsley here, curly parsley that is going to seed. So I'll save the seed. So if you guys are not saving your seeds, remember to save them. I know a lot of people, it's the end of the season, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't save my seeds. So save your seeds. And then, this is pretty cool. This is a black Oxhart tomato plant that I had gotten from Baker Creek, and it was in a bin we had gotten. It was like a survival pack or something. They don't sell it anymore. But it was 10 years old. And it was one of the seeds. Not all the seeds germinated because it was really hot. They were not kept in good conditions whatsoever. It was like up in the top of our house. It was boiling hot. And so lo and behold, 2 things came out of that I guess I planted about 15 seeds or so. And 2 of them, they germinated. And this black Oxhart tomato was one of them, as well as my muskmelon, the cantaloupe. So those 2 did, and they're growing really good right now in the garden. So wow. I thought that was pretty cool.
And even after 10 years and not in the perfect conditions, they were able to germinate at least something at them.
And I was kind of shocked that it was a tomato. I could understand the melon,
yeah,
but not a tomato. So that was really cool.
That is great.
Yeah.
Wow. So what else you growing over here?
Well, I have a lot of my chard. The bugs like it too. I like it too. And then, well, I just got stuff everywhere. Then there's some of my chamomile. It smells so good. So throughout the season, I go ahead and I pick my flowers. Actually, I did a video on that, not that long ago either, but this is a chamomile flower. Aren't they beautiful?
They sure are.
Love them.
They sure are.
And they smell great. So, and then along with my arugula. And then, one of my favorites, and then if you guys are growing it, I love Armenian cucumbers. They're great, totally cool. Here they are. I'll go ahead and pick this one. They can get to be huge, like huge. You can do bicep curls with them. They're just huge. But they're wonderful. Actually, it's not a cucumber, it's in the melon family. And you can go ahead and slice them. You can eat the skin. They're very tender, and they have a very slight cucumber taste, and they're wonderful. And I grow a lot of these. But if you do grow them, just remember they like to go crazy. They're much more than a regular cucumber. Okay?
But it looks like you'll be getting a lot there. They look pretty prolific for the most part, and they're huge.
You have no idea how prolific they are. I have given so many away. I have lots of them in the outside kitchen right now, and there's still a ton more in here. So
wow.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
And even at that size, is the flavor still good?
Oh no, these are still great. No, I'm telling you, they get huge, like a big, huge, like pumpkin squash or something. Yeah.
And at this size, are they still good for saving seeds, or do you let them grow out a little bit more if you're going to save seeds from these?
No, these will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely. You get quite a few seeds out of these.
One of the things that I really like about your garden as far as the layout, there's a number of things, but I really like how you all have the weed suppressed with the gravel. Do you have like landscape fabric or something underneath that? Or?
Yeah, we use the tarps, the old billboard tarps that you see when you go down the highway. We have a local Amish farmer around here who sells them, and so we just get them. And actually, farther out in the garden, it's kind of weedy because we haven't gotten that far yet. I have the tarps in the back of my truck right now. So we're going to be doing that.
So that might be a great idea for you guys out there if you're looking for a way to suppress your weeds, which I really recommend doing because no one really enjoys pulling out weeds. Is checking in your area to see if you can find a company that has billboard signs, because a lot of these companies, they just put them in the landfill. So instead of sitting in the landfill somewhere, use them around your garden to keep the weeds down.
Yep. So, and then the other thing that I did, and you know, and a lot of us, it's not too late to plant, you know, for your fall garden. So not that long ago, I wanted to plant some zucchini, and I really like this variety called Zucchini rampicante, I think that's what it is. They're huge and they're wonderful. So I just planted this not that long ago. And it's already grown. Look how much it's grown. We had a lot of rain. Rain can do a lot. So I'm just gonna, I didn't have a trellis. I just kind of rigged up some T-posts and I stuck a little basket over it.
There we go, resourcefulness there.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna work. And then as well as my favorite plant, everyone should be growing, Purslane.
There we go.
This is very nutritious. One of the best things you guys could be growing, and everyone thinks it's a weed and they pull it out and they don't eat it. And it's so, so good for you. It's very, very mineral rich. It's got omega-3 acids in it, and it is great. So if you're a vegan, this is definitely something you want to get because the type of omega-3s in here is very similar to the animal type omega-3s. So it's a very good plant to add to your diet and put in your garden, especially in the heat of summer, and later in the summer it grows wonderful. I got it everywhere and I use it. You could can it, you could go ahead and put it in a ferment, you can put it in a salad, I mean, I love it. It's wonderful. It has a very citrusy taste. Have you tasted it before?
I actually not sure if I've ever tried it before, but I want to try some.
One?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
It's good. It just has a nice, like, kind of a citrusy kind of, yeah, it's like a succulent.
It's pleasant taste.
Yeah.
It's not bitter at all. It's very good.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
So even in the summer, it still has this nice, pleasant taste to it.
Yeah, and then you have the older ones, and then like some of the, you know, you can see these look a little nicer.
Oops,
sorry, I got my netting. Yeah, I got more beets coming up. But see, some of it's going to flower. I just love it. Good stuff.
So I see here you're growing one of the plants that I'm also growing, herbs, and this is a Thai basil, I believe.
Oh yes, it is wonderful. I grow them. They're all over the place. It smells heavenly. If you had smell-o-vision, you would love this. See if you can smell it. It smells so, so good. It smells like licorice, and it's what they put traditionally in Thai food. So if you're making stir fries and stuff, you put it in there, it tastes great. If you're making rice, oh my gosh, I love it. So I grow a lot of this, but I really love to grow it because it grows into these big, huge, you know, big balls. And actually this is a littler one. I'll show you a bigger one over here.
Oh wow.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It sure is.
And what's cool about it, it's a little different than like a Genovese basil that you need to keep pruning so it doesn't go to seeds and get real sticky. It just keeps growing and produces these beautiful flowers. And look, right now, here's my lovely little honeybee enjoying it. You get lots of pollinators. Amazing. And it smells great when you walk through the garden. It's just magnificent. I just love it. As well as my other favorite, holy basil. And this is, I have it all over, but here's one. If you could smell this one, this is amazing. So if you're not familiar what holy basil is, it's also called Tulsi, T-U-L-S-I, and it's a tea that a lot of people get, and it's revered in India, and it's like a sacred type plant. And they call it an adaptogen. And it's really good. It helps to relax your nervous system and calm you. And it's something that's just amazing to kind of, you know, have some tea at night, maybe before you go into bed. But it has a wonderful flavor. I use it in a lot of like my fire ciders and tinctures and things that I make. But I really love this plant, and it is just the most amazing smell. Oh, have you smelled that before?
I don't think I have. Well, it smells good. It is slightly different from the other basils, but it's
totally
really,
different,
really good.
Oh, it is.
Oh, I'll have to try that one.
Yeah, I'll give you, think I have some seeds. I'll give you some seeds. Yeah, I should.
One of the drinks that I like to have is a basil lemonade. I just started making it this year.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I use the Thai basil. How do you think that would work with this type of basil? Think it'd be good too? Maybe just slightly different flavor?
Try it, yeah. Because you know what? It kind of has the undertones of, when you put lavender into something. I kind of think that's probably what it would do, but try it, because I really like it in the fire cider. It gives it a very nice flavor.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You use it in any other dishes outside of the cider or drinks?
For me, no, I don't use it quite as much. I'll use all the other ones. This is what I'll use. I'll make tinctures with mostly and teas. Those are my two TT, tinctures and teas. That's what I make out of this the most.
So what do we have here? I'm not really familiar with this.
So this is oregano.
Okay.
And what I've done is all my other oregano I've already cut back and it's growing back, but I just let a lot of them go to flower for my pollinators.
Okay.
So a lot of them right now they're looking kind of bad, and I will cut it back. As you can see, come on over here. See, it's already wanting to come back.
Oh,
so that's the cool thing with your herbs. When you grow your herbs, they're going to grow. You'll get a couple harvests out of them in a season. So I always make sure to cut them back, but I always leave some for my pollinators. So, and this is ready to get their hair cut.
So it looks like you're just doing with a lot of your herbs and letting them go to seeds and just fall down right into the bed, just like nature would do. Just let them just drop and do the work.
And then a lot of times, I'm a person, I got a lot going on here, and like everybody else does. So basically what I do is I let things grow. I'll just let it go, let it dry out. Even as winter comes, this will go ahead and dry after I cut it back and it grows again. And then I'll go ahead and use this for my seed next year. I just pull the whole plant out after it's totally dead and dried, and then I hang it up in the greenhouse. And then those are my seeds that I'll just take out and plant for spring. And that's what I do with my herbs, like the Thai basil, because you get so many seeds on there, and then I give them to friends and neighbors and people who want them, and then spread the love, and then just keep using them. So it works out really good.
So you have a number of things here that are good to be eaten. There's edible plants here, there's fruits, or there's vegetables growing in here as well as medicinal plants. What got you into the gardening to begin with?
Well, I just wanted to know where my food came from. You don't know. Food travels so far, 1,000 miles or at least, and then you're getting it, it's losing its nutritional value. The moment that you pick it, that's when you're going to get the most nutrition out of your food. So I wanted to get my food where it's nutrient rich and you're getting the most bang for your buck. So if you're not growing a garden, make sure you guys are going to the farmer's market or going to CSAs and places like that to get your food, because the closer you get to your food, you're just going to get more nutrition. So I just wanted to know for my health and just because we don't know what's going on and what they're putting in our food. You're hearing about all this. So I just want to be more self-sufficient, have the most health possible out of my food, and be happy. And I love it. And then the more I have gotten into it over the years, you just get better and better, because people are like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. Well, I didn't know anything about gardening whatsoever. My husband and I were like, just coming in here. I barely had a garden bed I could keep the weeds out of at a community garden before we even came out here to live on our property. And I just started doing a little at a time and just start learning about things. Like my first goal was trying to learn how to grow onions, because the Amish people around us had these great big huge onions, and I'm like, I want onions like that. And eventually, like the second year and the third year, I got these wonderful onions, because I learned how to do them. And then the next time I would try to learn something more. So that's the one thing, try to get successful at one thing, and then you'll get successful again and again and again at other things. And eventually you'll know a lot more than you knew when you first started. So don't give up. You can do it.
That's right. And it sounds like you didn't grow up growing food. Really?
We just had a little garden,
my dad,
but I didn't pay attention. Just like, when you're a kid, you don't pay attention to your parents, and you're like, I wish I did when I got older. So he had a really beautiful garden, but I could care less. I'd eat what was in the garden, but I didn't pay attention to what he did. So. And
growing up, I had no experience with growing anything, but I say that to encourage those of you who have maybe in the same boat, maybe you've never grown anything before. We say this to let you know that you can do it. And Stacy, if you were to pick maybe a handful of things for people maybe to get started with, whether it be herbs or vegetables, what would you suggest?
Which ones to pick?
To grow.
Definitely some greens.
Okay.
Greens are very simple. Like I love arugula. Arugula grows so simple. You can throw it down water, it'll grow up and pop up the next day. It's very easy. Radishes are very easy to grow. Peppers, in the season, they start off slow, but they're like go with gangbusters later on. And everyone likes tomatoes. Tomatoes are, easy to grow too. I would suggest growing lots of herbs. I like to do a lot of companion planting and mix and match and put a lot of different things in there. So definitely planting herbs, especially perennial herbs, because those are the ones that, you know, keep coming back year after year and you don't have to do anything to. Yeah. And many of these perennial herbs don't require a lot of, you know, the perfect soil. So growing sage, growing oregano, those are, you know, really good ones, thyme. And then that way you can use it in your seasoning and seasonings and dry them out. Because a lot of seasonings that we're getting are irradiated and, you know, they're processed and it's not good. So we want to get things in its most natural form. So you get a lot of herbs and you can just cut them and dry them out and then you'll have fresh herbs.
Alrighty. Well, Stacy, thank you so much for showing us around your garden. Keep growing, and I hope Stacy's garden encourages you guys to start growing things too.
All right. Oh, okay. Say one
go
more
ahead.
thing.
Yep.
I'm going to say one more thing. Don't forget to plant flowers in your garden, like the zinnias. I love planting zinnias. And actually this year I planted the variegated coxcomb. You want to see them real quick?
Sure, yeah, let's see that.
Come and see the coxcomb.
So this is a little bonus here.
They're just starting to bloom a little bit. Oh, and then I'll say also sweet potatoes are good to grow.
Okay.
We can do those. Those are good. So over here, I have a medicinal garden, but here's some zinnias. But the coxcomb, here, come on over, they're beautiful. They're just starting to, aren't they gorgeous?
Oh wow, we haven't grown those before.
Yeah, and they'll get bigger, and they're beautiful. And these are edible.
Oh really?
So this is one of my new little favorites that I started to grow.
One thing that I've learned recently is that most flowers are edible. So on this one, can you eat the petals as well as the leaves, or just the petals?
Both of them.
Both of them. Wow.
It does look like a rooster's coxcomb, doesn't it? Yeah.
That is neat.
But it will. These are just starting to, you know, bloom. They will get a little bit bigger. These things get pretty huge, so it's beautiful.
So you've been gardening a number of years now here at this property, but we're always setting new goals, and have things that we want to do as homesteaders. What would you say? I know I'm kind of throwing this right at you. What would you say your goals are for maybe next growing season? What are some things you want to do and expand on?
Well, we got more tarps. As you can see here, we haven't gotten far enough. There's the weeds here, so we're going to put more tarp down, and I'm going to cover all this with rocks, because it is not fun to go in your garden when you have a lot of, you know, weeds. So this has really helped. Like Mike was saying before, I really like how Doug came up with the idea to put that tarp down and then put the rocks on top, because it's a wonderful way. It keeps the weeds down, and if they do pop up, like here, look how easy they come out.
Wow, that's a piece of cake.
I mean, they come right out. So wow. It's simple, simple. So that's what we're going to definitely work on, and we're going to add more raised beds. Yeah. So we're going to add a lot more in through here, and this will all be looking good. And by next year, I will be 100% happy with my garden. Oh, but I'll have to say, you know, you guys don't give up. You know, if you're going to start with some pots, you know, on your, you know, porch, or do a few raised beds or one raised bed, and just start growing, and then you just get better as time goes by. So I just say, just try it. It does, you know, just as long as you do something, because growing it really empowers you. And then when you eat it, I mean, everything, even children, when they start growing it themselves and eating it, you'll find that they will eat vegetables because they did it themselves. So it's just one of those things that you just get better with it. So I just say, just do it.
There we go, just do it.
Yeah.
And check out here, guys, you can see the difference where the gravel is versus where there's not the gravel and the tarps down. So that's more work for you. This is less work for you.
And I have to show you really quick that I always wanted to grow fennel, because I love fennel tea. It's just good for your digestion. It just has a wonderful flavor to add to things. So I started growing it, and it wouldn't come up. It wouldn't come up. It wouldn't come up. And I grew the variety of the bronze fennel. And the funny thing was, it was the same. When they were sprouting, it looked just like the dirt, so you couldn't even tell it was coming up at all. So it's finally coming up, and it's a perennial, and I'm very excited. It'll fill my whole little area here, and I'm very happy. I finally have fennel.
So this is the kitchen.
It is.
There we go.
My outside kitchen, where all the magic happens.